Here's a question that I'd like to pose. What is hard work? I ask this because I think nothing I've ever really done can be considered hard work. And even working out, you know, people think that it's this huge deal and that it takes so much to do it, when really the hardest part is just starting. The hardest part of anything I've ever done has been just getting into it, just starting, putting myself in the mindset of, okay, let's sit down and do this. And that's not even all that hard. It's just about getting yourself to the point where it's like, okay, let's do this. And it feels hard, but then when you do it, it's like, it's not, you realize like, this is not actually, like, this isn't difficult. You know, I edit videos. My dad was a carpenter his whole life. He's a retired New York City carpenter. Like, he looks at what I do and he says, I could never do that. Like, I can't sit down at a computer and edit videos. And I obviously couldn't be a carpenter. Like, I look at what he did and I think that's hard work. You're literally like exerting yourself. You're lifting things. You're all day, blood, sweat, and tears, like into your work, literally. And then I just chop up some videos and I sit down at a computer and do that. Or I produce a song, or I play the piano and I learn a song. I was just learning, you know, a Fiona Apple song on the piano called I Want You to Love Me the other day. And I sat down and I learned half of it in like, not like an hour or something. And I'm like, this is not very difficult. Like, it doesn't feel like a challenge. I think there are piano pieces that can be more challenging, but I think it's really just about sitting down and putting the time in, and it's like tedious more than anything. Everything I like to do, it kind of takes meticulous, like, it's like tedious work. It's stuff that kind of just takes a little while, but I like to do it and I can do it and I can do it well. So I don't really look at anything I do and say, this is hard work. And I also don't know if you can say, oh, if you put 40 hours, if you could do more than 40 hours in your workday, that's harder work. Elon Musk had like a whole tweet where he's like, oh, nothing ever gets done in 40 hours. If you want to change the world, it's not going to happen in a 40-hour work week. And I just look at that and I'm like, is it really about that? Is it really about like losing sleep? I mean, it's not good for you if you're not even going to be as productive or get as much done if you don't even get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I think I actually need that solid 9 hours of sleep, and then I feel much more rejuvenated. I'm able to like focus much better, do everything much better. And it's always been very hard for me, because if I look at what I do and I think, oh, I'm not really working hard, am I? Like, it's like, how do you really measure hard work? How do you say this is hard work, this is enough, this is what hard work feels like? How do you know? I find it very difficult to figure that out. But what I will say is, when I make things, I'm a perfectionist. I make sure that they are as amazing as they can be. If I see one frame that I don't like, I say, nope, I cannot physically like go on with this being like this. When I learn a song on piano, I make sure it's done. I make sure it's right. I make sure I look at everything. I make sure, you know, like I can't do, like I'm a perfectionist. But does that mean, it's just the measurement of hard work. I don't really understand what makes somebody a hard worker versus not. Is it really like the more time they put into it? You could spend all this time doing something only for it to come out worse than when you started. You could save time by doing things like, you know, with video editing, or even artists who use like an iPad to draw. There are all these shortcuts, all these things you can do if you master the software that you're using, where you can have the software like do things for you that would have taken you extra time to do. Like you can have something removed from the background, and it's the technology is so smart it can do it itself. You don't even have to do that. Whereas somebody else could put that time in. But what does this make somebody else a better artist? Like, no, I wouldn't say so. So, yeah, this is just something I think about. And I think this can be a hindering thought in a way, because it's like, well, you know, how do I even know that I'm doing enough for this? What feels like enough? How do I know when enough is enough? And it's like a crazy thing to think about, but I can't say I'm somebody who ever tries to put anything out that isn't up to par with my standards. And that is something I will say that I am proud of with myself, but what the heck is hard work, you know? Oh, you know, I will say, like, when I see things that aren't done correctly or that are done just like very poorly, and I look at, I always think to myself, you know, if this is your passion, if making videos or filming stuff is your passion and you do a bad job, like, what's the point of even doing it? Like, I remember seeing some stuff that I had to work on and being like, who filmed this? Like, how could they think while they were filming and watching this beautiful thing unfold that they were capturing it to the best of their ability? How could they sit there and, like, I can't understand it, because if you go into a creative field, don't you feel passionately about what it is that you're doing? Aren't you so excited to be able to do what you're doing that you want it to be amazing because you're filming something that's awesome and you're like, yes, like, this is touching my heart. Like, I want to make this amazing. Look at this shot. Like, I could never do something and like edit it so that it's, or like film something that looks shaky and bad. Like, I just can't do that. And it was so mind-boggling to me. Like, that's different from a job where you're, you know, working like retail and you hate your life. Of course, it's like demotivating and you don't want to do it to the best of your ability. But I don't know, like, I can't, it's so different from a creative field. You know, do you think the people that make amazing movies, like, don't try to make it look good? You know what I mean? Like, those people wouldn't even be in the position that they're in to be making these Hollywood films if they weren't good at what they do. Like, I see a lot of people that it's clear to me that they aren't putting 100% in terms of, like, they're not even really trying to make things look good. And then I think, you know, that's kind of why you're not gonna really find yourself getting past the job you currently have. I just can't comprehend that. I cannot understand why somebody would, in a creative field especially, make something that is shameful and, like, not good. Just not good. And how did they even get to that place? Like, how did they even get that position in the first place? That is what baffles me. So, yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to ask is, what do you consider to be hard work? How do you know when you're working hard? I ask myself that question a lot. I'm a very critical person of what I do, what I make, everything. And I think that you have to be able to find this balance where you're like, okay, I think enough is enough, so that you can actually, like, move forward and achieve and put things out. And that's the problem I've had for a very long time, is, like, I'm never satisfied. Yet I still don't think I'm working hard. Like, you know what, I don't know how to explain this any other way, but yeah. Cool.